Vashishtaya namo namaha.
Yeah. So this was a sloka in describing Vyasa. Vyasa is our guru, right? So first we talk about the guru, we pray to the guru, and then we go to the God. Why do you have to pray to the guru first, even before the God?
Because the guru is the one that made the whole thing possible. He taught us.
Yeah, he showed us who God is. He is telling us who God is, right?
Yes.
So that is the reason why we first pray to the guru, the teacher, the precept, and then pray to the God. So this sloka is about the God. So from guru, we are now into God. So let us read the sloka. If you know the sloka, you can read with me. Avikaraya Shuddhaya Nityaya Paramatmane Sadaika Rupa Rupaya Vishnave Sarva Vishnave. So the meaning is, I bow before Vishnu, who is pure, who is not affected, who is permanent, who is the ultimate truth, and he who wins over all the mortals in this world. That's what it means. So the first quality of Lord Vishnu is that he is pure. So purity is a very important aspect. The 1,000 names are nothing but the 1,000 qualities of God, right? Vishnu Sahasranamam. Sahasra is 1,000, Nama is name, and these are the 1,000 names, 1,000 qualities of God. And
if Vishnu is pure, like lotus is, then shouldn't all the lotus names be Vishnu's name? Kind of.
so purity is a quality, right?
Yeah.
So your question is that lotus is pure, and that's why it should be called Vishnu.
So
Kind
the
of.
lotus should be part of the Vishnu Sahasranamam.
Yes, you're right. So we see lotus coming again and again in the Vishnu Sahasranama to describe the God. So that is right. But just because
The name itself is not lotus type in one of Vishnu.
so there is a lotus. Lotus comes again and again in the Vishnu Sahasranama multiple times, because lotus is a very important concept to describe the qualities of God.
So are these
You have to come closer.
okay. So are these names for
Closer.
are these names for like all of Shiva's not Shiva, sorry, Vishnu's avatars? Like for example, Krishna was very mischievous and clever. While Brahma, he wasn't as mischievous, but would mischievous still be included in the Vishnu Sahasranama, even though he wasn't mischievous in all of his avatars, only in a couple?
We'll see. Actually, we'll see what 1,000. I mean, there are many qualities. You are right. There are many qualities of God, and some of the qualities are seen in some avatars and not in the others. But whoever has written Vishnu Sahasranama, we don't know if it is Vyasa himself or somebody else, or it has always been there. But whoever has come up with the Vishnu Sahasranamas chose 1,000 important names, most important qualities of God. So that is the whole idea of going through the Vishnu Sahasranama, is to know what are the most important 1,000 qualities of God.
So we can try to have them as well?
Yeah. So we'll not cover all the millions and billions of qualities of God, just the 1,000 qualities. So we'll see which ones are.
1,000 is still a lot, isn't it?
Yes, 1,000 is still a lot. So this sloka introduces the God. After Guru, it is the God. And this sloka, the first quality of God that is used to introduce God is, what is it? It's from the Sloka.
Shuddhaya.
Yeah, Shuddhaya means pure. He who is pure. Actually, Avikaraya comes first, but Shuddhaya. Shuddhaya, in Sanskrit, the word order can be a little different. So one of the first names to introduce God is pure, purity.
Like the lotus.
Yeah.
The lotus is, yeah, you can think of lotus also as pure, but pure has deeper meaning.
Is Suddha and Siddhi the same thing?
No. So Shuddha and Siddhi are different, completely different. Shuddha means Shuddhaya, Shuddha means pure. So actually in the Vishnu Sahasranama itself, two names in the Vishnu Sahasranama indicate this quality of purity. The 10th name, it appears in the second sloka of the Vishnu Sahasranama, is Pūtātmā. Pūtātmā means one whose nature is purity. So he is pure, Pūtātmā. And the 251st name in the Vishnu Sahasranama is Suchi. Suchi also means pure. So there are two names in the Vishnu Sahasranama which indicate that the God is pure.
Three, including Suddhaya, right?
Yeah, no, Shuddhaya is not included in the 1,000 names. It is just used to introduce God. It's a preface. This word Shuddhaya, the sloka that we are looking at now, the 5th sloka of Vishnu Sahasranama, is still the preface to Vishnu Sahasranama. We haven't yet started the Sahasranama. So this is just the introduction. And in the introduction itself, out of the 1,000 names, this quality of purity was chosen to introduce the God. So why did, is there a question? So why did Vyasa choose purity to first introduce God? So purity is a very important concept in most faiths, not just in Sanatana Dharma, but like Sikhism, they call it Khalsa. The word derives from Arabic word Khalis. Khalis means pure. So Khalsa means purity in Sikhism.
Well, it's not only in religion, but in everywhere. Doesn't being pure also mean being like loyal and actually meaning what you say and being honest?
Exactly.
So if you don't have purity, then basically everything you do, you don't know if it's correct or true or not.
Yeah.
So there's no point.
Yeah, purity, that is the reason why it is important. And religions, even Bible for that matter, Jesus talks about when a person is unclean and when a person is clean. So purity is a very important concept. But what is purity? You're right that you said something, right?
Loyalty and
loyalty, honesty. So all those are qualities of pureness or purity.
Sincerity.
Yeah, sincerity. So to summarize, instead of using so many words to describe purity, you can say that purity is the nature of the soul. That is what you are born with. With time, because of the body, we become impure. But when we are born, we are pure. Our soul is pure. It's the body which brings in all the impurity. Not only physical impurity, but mental impurity as well. It's all from the body. So body can be considered as an impurity in the purity of soul. So purity is the eligibility for spiritual growth, right? So for instance, you are serving food to people, right? So
Yes.
do you serve food, like in India, when you go to marriages, they serve food in your plate. So suppose you are, when I was your age, I used to serve food in
Like in the
marriages.
temple.
No, in marriages. So when in my relatives' marriages, I used to serve food. It used to be fun. So when you see hair in the plate, do you serve food?
No.
No.
How about if there is nails,
No.
No.
mud,
No.
No. If
Dirt.
anything's wrong with it, then
No.
just throw it out.
stones,
No.
right?
What about
Yeah.
stone soup?
Stone.
Stones that aren't meant to be eaten and
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah.
supposed to be there.
Yeah. So if the plate is dirty, you don't like to serve food, right? And food is God, right?
Annapurna.
Annam Parabrahma Swarupam. So food is nothing but God. So you don't want to serve God. I mean, you don't. God does not enter where the place when the place is dirty, right? If it, whether it be plate or whether it be your mind. So anger, attachment, laziness, hatred are like the hair, the nails, the mud, the stones, etc. in the plate. So just like you don't serve God, you don't serve food in the plate when there is hair, when there's nails, and when there's dirt. You cannot bring God into your mind when there is anger in the mind, when there is attachment in the mind, when there is hatred in the mind, when there's laziness in the mind. God cannot come.
So that's why you don't go to God when you're lazy or when you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. So anger, attachment, and anything that comes with the body is basically an impurity which hinders spiritual growth. So we don't like to enter a smelly, dirty, dingy home, right? Suppose you go to some place and there's a home, you don't like to enter that home. So same thing with God, right? So God and all the good things, stay away from impure people. When somebody becomes impure, good things do not come in. So, for instance, another example. Suppose you're angry with somebody. You're terribly angry with somebody. Of course, you're still small kids. You did not see that phase of anger. But some adults get really mad, totally mad. They totally forget themselves. And they keep shouting and yelling and do all sorts of things. So that is one example. Another example is for your case. In your case, suppose you are watching TV. You're just resting on the sofa and you have been watching TV for 2 hours. Can you think about God?
No.
No.
Same thing with when the person is angry, he cannot think about God. The mind cannot host God when it has all this dirt in the mind. Anger is a dirt. All these stem from the attachment to the body. The pain, the anger, the hatred, the laziness, all of them are coming from the body. They are not coming from the soul. That is the reason why you can ignore them. If it is coming from the soul, it is harder to ignore. But if they are coming from your body, it is much easy to ignore. Relatively easy.
It's like a habit that you've had for 2 days. You can easily get rid of it, but if you have a habit for like your whole life, then it's hard to get rid of it.
Exactly, you got the point. Whatever is coming from the soul has been in the soul for many lives. So that is the reason why you should not do bad things. If you do bad things, the impressions stay in the soul. So, and the soul gets corrupt. It becomes impure as well with the impressions, with the bad impressions, right? So when the soul starts, it's all pure. But through impressions and through our actions and through our attachment to the bodies, people become. So there are some weird. I should not be saying this. It is not politically correct to say this, but I can still say it, I believe. There are some people with weird tastes. Very weird tastes.
Like how jaundice makes even bellam seem sour, jaggery.
I don't know that example, but there are some weird tastes and desires in human beings. Very bad. Some of them are illegal, some of them are legal, some of them are encouraged, some of them are not encouraged. We don't want to go into those kind of details. But you know that there are some weird habits, weird tastes, weird behaviors of people.
Like apple,
Abnormal. I mean, which are not.
drugs.
Yeah, like drugs, for instance, substance abuse, one thing. Then, so why is it? Why do people get into those habits? It's because I think it is because people have been
Pressure?
they have been harboring such thoughts through their lives. In the past lives, they were too much attached to those kind of behaviors.
But how they get attached to it in the first place?
They keep on thinking, you keep on doing certain things and enjoying it and relishing it, and it slowly sticks to your soul. Yeah, the attachment from the body goes into the soul. It starts with the body, and then it can, just like suppose you're long back, right? Clothes, they used to say that when I was small, for instance, they used to say that the shirts and the clothes that we wear must be, what is it called? I even forgot. You have to soak them in water for a day. Otherwise, the color sticks to the undergarments and the skin also sometimes. So I forgot the name. So those were the days when we had to soak clothes in the water. So the dirt from the cloth stuck to our body, right? Same thing with body and soul. The dirt from the body gets stuck to the soul sometimes. If the color is too much on the cloth, it sticks to your body, right? If the impressions are too much in your body, then they can stick to the soul. See, like some kids, we talked about this, right? Some kids are able to quickly recognize Vedas. They are able to learn Vedas quickly. Other children it's very hard for them. Why? Because of the impressions collected through the lives.
So the people who have diseases that can't learn and stuff like that very easily, did they not learn very?
Yeah, they ignored learning in the past lives. So they were not good at learning. So whatever you do repeatedly, whatever you get attached to, can form an impression on the soul. And that is what Buddha tried to explain to people. And he showed a way to remove all impressions, not only not collecting impressions in this life, he also removed all the impressions from the past lives using meditation. So he demonstrated a way to remove all impressions from the soul and reaching the God directly. He showed a way not to collect impressions, and he showed a way to remove all the impressions from past lives. So impressions, when do you form impressions? When you are too much attached to something. So for instance, love, for instance, hate. See, in Indian movies and even in US, English movies and other movies also, other language movies, they show ghosts, right? So what is a ghost? What is the concept of a ghost?
It's the part that's left behind.
It's basically the desire left in the soul. If somebody dies with a strong desire, a strong attachment to the worldly things, then the soul does not leave the earth. That's what they say. The soul lingers. The desire in the soul lingers. So that is the whole idea of ghost.
So is that like how when someone has such a strong hatred towards someone and then they die and then they come back as a ghost to haunt someone just
Yes,
to get revenge at the person that they
exactly.
had so much hatred towards.
That's right. So that is the reason why it is not a good idea to take anything that seriously, that it will go to your soul.
Can the ghost of you haunt yourself?
How can the ghost is basically you after without the body, right?
Yeah, but so the ghost is just the body, or is it the whole soul?
The body is gone, it is just the soul with a very strong desire, strong attachment to the worldly things. It may be some strong desire about certain thing or strong attachment to a person and things like that. There is also a belief in India that if a person is strongly attached to some other person, then the person after death will be born in the same house. So, like suppose somebody is attached to their granddaughter a lot, and then the person dies. Then they say that the person may come back as a child for the granddaughter or grandchild because of the attachment, the strong desire. So that is the impression that gets stored in the soul. The soul becomes impure, and it becomes ineligible to merge with the God.
I have another example of a ghost.
Yeah.
So in Harry Potter, a book, there's this girl in the one of the girls' bathrooms. Her name is Moaning Myrtle, and she's a ghost. And the reason that she's named Moaning Myrtle is because she's always whining and complaining about things. So she didn't like the world, so she became a ghost, right?
Yeah, that's right. The hatred towards the world made that person become a ghost. That is the belief, right? So that is the reason why all this is coming from the body, attachment to the body. So Buddha showed that with meditation you can get detached to the body. Nothing from the body can affect your soul. He demonstrated it. If you meditate enough, nothing from the body can impact your soul. Your soul will remain pure. So that is what he demonstrated. So these things, like any situation where you are not able to meditate, where you are not able to think about God, is bad. That means you are becoming impure. So you are doing something and you cannot focus on God, then it means that what you are doing is wrong. You are becoming impure. So anger or anything that makes you, so you should at any time you should be able to meditate and you should be able to think of God. So what are rituals? Like we in the Sanatana Dharma, there are too many rituals. That's what people say, right? There is Abhishekam, there is so much, there's two ritual festivals, and there are too many rituals. Why do you have rituals? See, because you cannot easily meditate directly. And this is my understanding.
And if there weren't rituals, wouldn't we just forget?
Yeah, so the ultimate goal is to meditate. You could meditate upon God, you could meditate upon your internal, you can focus your attention inside. So there are many ways to meditate.
Or you can remind yourself about God by using words or chants.
Yeah. Okay, there's something on the chat window. Moaning Myrtle may actually show hatred most of our life. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
She complains about everything.
Yeah, she comes. So that is the other reason why you should not complain. You should not feel too bad about things. You just take it as it comes.
Is a ghost like bad?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, becoming one.
yeah, becoming ghost is because somebody did something wrong, they became a ghost, right? That
Can
is
the
a belief.
ghost not go to God?
It will not go to God. It will not leave the world because of the attachment.
Yeah, one of the other ghosts says that he wanted to just he didn't want to leave Earth, so he stayed on Earth, and now he can't see what happens after ever. He's stuck on Earth forever.
Yeah.
Because he was so attached when he died. They're ghosts forever.
Yeah.
Why would you stay with the world if you don't like it?
Well, you want to get revenge.
Attachment, whether it is not liking or whether it is liking, both are attachment. Good question.
But I thought the soul gives in your next, like if you're in your past life, if you want to be a rich person, in your next life, your soul will give you a life of a rich person.
Yeah, if you're attached too much to whatever, you become that. But if you're too attached, then the soul does not even take a life, another life. It just lingers around in the world itself.
Because the feelings spilled over and wouldn't
Yeah.
let it go.
Yeah. So yeah, why we were talking about rituals. See, you cannot meditate when your mind is all corrupt. I mean, when it is impure, right? Suppose somebody, one of the reasons people go to these meditation camps is when they are totally depressed. Either there are so many reasons to become depressed, right? Somebody losing a job, somebody loving a person and that person rejecting this person, and somebody not scoring well in the exams. There are so many reasons for people to become depressed, and somebody feeling loneliness in the world. They cannot associate themselves with anyone else. So there are so many reasons for getting depressed, and that's when they think of meditation. That's when they think of God. It is not wrong to think about God or meditation at that time, but the problem is, however hard you try, in such a situation, you cannot just focus your attention on God or even meditate on anything. It is really unfortunate, but just when the time you need God, because of the impurities in the mind, you cannot get God. Just like the food doesn't come into a dirty plate, right? Same way, God does not come into a impure mind. So the way to reach that stage of meditation is by way of rituals. When you do a ritual, it is much easier to participate in a ritual than meditate. Even if you are depressed, even if you are, that is the reason why I donate to the temples, right? Some people ask me, you could have as well donated it to a charity in India, poor people in India. Why do you donate to temples? I donate to temples because temple is a very important place. When you are depressed, when you are in troubles, you can go to the temple. You cannot quickly meditate, but you can always go to the temple, participate in the rituals, look at people, and that is much more easier than meditating. So as you get into these rituals, you will slowly develop the propensity or the eligibility to meditate. So rituals, then recite stotras, mantras, slokas, which purify your mind, and then start meditating. What is mantra? What is the meaning of mantra?
Well, man is mind.
Yeah.
Man is mind. Tra means putra, putri.
Pure.
What is the meaning of putra? Putri.
Putra means son.
Putri.
Mother?
Putra means son. right? Putri means daughter.
Right.
So what does putra or putri means?
Son or daughter, child.
No, tra means save. So one who saves the parents from the Punnama Narakas, the hell. Punnama Narakas are called hells.
So mantras are something that save your mind.
Exactly.
From
Mantra saves your mind. That is why it's called mantra. So all these stotras, they are basically mantras. They save your mind. So we are learning Vishnu Sahasranamam mantras. That is the reason why I insist on memorizing these slokas, right? Because these slokas, when you repeat them as ritual, they cleanse your mind. Even if you don't understand the meaning, still they have the power to cleanse your mind. If you know the meaning and remember the meaning when you are reciting the sloka, well and good. That's the perfect way. But even if you don't know the meaning, even if you recite these slokas as a ritual, they save your mind from the impurities. So once your mind becomes pure by reciting mantras or by participating in the rituals, you become eligible to meditate. Of course, this many people ask, what is the technique? I had a friend who used to ask, train me, give me the technique, how to meditate. I want to meditate. I used to tell him, see, you have to change your lifestyle. Basically, it's uh, you spend a lot. You enjoy life to a great extent. You take so much interest in the worldly matters. You give importance to fashion and style and all those things. All those what do you call that? Gaudiness or what do you call that? I'm not getting the word, but all the show put up. So that is exactly opposite of meditation. There's no technique. There's no quick shortcut to meditation. Meditation is a slow process for the uninitiated. So for someone who is heavily attached to the world, all this show put up and consumerism and love and hate and favorites and all these things are basically against the philosophy of meditation. You cannot do both. You cannot have this kind of life and also meditate. It is impossible.
So is that why in meditation the first thing they tell you to do is to clear your mind? Like not think about anything?
I don't know about that. I don't know if they say that, but even if they say that, it may not matter much if your mind is too impure. If your mind is too attached to the world, then it is very hard to meditate. So to reach that stage, there is a process. There are certain things that you can do, but those things will take a lot of time. So rituals is the beginning of that. So participating in the homams, participating in the recitation of the Vedas, chanting of the Vedas, participating in the abhishekams, participating in the pujas, then reciting the mantras along with the priests. So those are some of the ways you can slowly change your mind to meditate. Then austerity is other thing. For our festivals, we do a lot of austere things.
What? Auspicious?
Austerity means being tough with yourself. So we fast. We don't take food for certain festivals. Like for Ekadashi, when I was a small child, many adults, when I was a small child, used to fast for Ekadashi. Every 11th day of the month, they used to fast.
And Ramadan?
Yeah, other religions also have similar practices, rituals. So all these rituals are meant to prepare you to reach the stage where you can focus on God, to make yourself pure again. But if you continue to be in that same mode, and if you want a shortcut, a quick way of meditating, then it is impossible. Both are contradictory. There's no shortcut. So it is a gradual process. So soul is basically God, right? One of the names, I mean, Vishnu is basically, the meaning of Vishnu is present everywhere, right?
Not nothing.
Yeah, not nothing, present everywhere. So the God is in our soul, in everybody. So soul is basically God. It is pure. So that is the reason why the most important name of God is purity. It is our actions and our thoughts which make it impure. Bad thoughts, not just actions, even thoughts. Some people may not be able to do certain things for various reasons. Maybe because it is illegal, maybe because it is they are shy or whatever. They don't do it, but they have that thought in the mind all the time. That also makes the person impure. So that is the essence of Shuddhaya, purity. We have to remain pure as much as possible. Attachment will make ourselves, we are making ourselves impure by attachment. Attachment does not necessarily mean happiness, good things, I mean, love and things like that. Attachment also means aversion, hatred, the opposite of love. That also is attachment. All those things are bad. Laziness. Why is somebody lazy?
Because they don't feel like doing anything.
Because they're too much attached to the body. They're too deeply attached to the body. They want to pamper the body. They want to make it feel good all the time. That is attachment, right? So like somebody had a home. When I was small, my grandmother used to talk about somebody. So those people were very attached to their home. That's not the word she used, but the behavior was that almost throughout the year they would do something to their home, some remodeling, some renovation, something or the other in the house. Why? I mean, does a person need so much in a home? The person, the very fact that the person is spending so much time on the house means that the person is too attached to the house. And eventually those people went bankrupt because they spent so much money on the. So same thing. So they were pampering their house. They were trying to do lots and lots of things. This month I will color the house yellow. After 3 months I will color the house green. So they were doing things like that. So it's because of what same thing you are doing with your body. You're pampering it. You want to throw the body on the sofa, on the couch, and watch TV endlessly, just pampering it. Why? Why do you do that? Because you're attached to the body. So when those kind of attachments are there, they stick to your soul and they make you impure. And in general, the results will be seen quickly, or maybe it will take a long time to see the results. Right? So that is the importance of purity, being detached, being unattached to the body. So the next is avikaraya. Avikaraya can mean two things, right? Vikara means deformity, right?
V means not.
Yeah, vikaraya, V is a negative and A is also a negative. Negative of negative is positive. Avikaraya. See in mathematics, when did you learn about minus into minus equal to plus? 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade?
Yeah, early 5th grade, I think.
Yeah.
When we learned about integers.
But if you were speaking Sanskrit from your birth, from your childhood, your very mother tongue was Sanskrit, you would know minus times minus is equal to plus when you're born.
Learn.
Yeah, when you're born, probably, because you hear your parents talk, although you cannot talk, you understand. When they say, no, don't do that kind of thing, you slowly understood, right? The same thing if somebody says, avikaraya, then you will understand that minus times minus is plus. So that is the reason why Sanskrit is very analytical. If you talk in Sanskrit, your analytical skills improve a lot. So something that you learned in 5th grade, you said?
Yeah, early
Yeah,
5th grade.
early 5th grade, you would learn when you are like 5 months. Yeah.
When you learn how to talk.
Yeah. So avikaraya means no vikaras. So no deformities. In other ways, you can think of no attachment, not being affected.
No imprints.
No imprints. That's right. So just like the lotus, avikara is like the lotus, another important divine quality. So so when you are like lotus, nothing can touch you, then no vikaras can touch you either. No deformities can touch you. So that is the meaning of avikaraya.
Instead of avikaraya, couldn't they have just said karaya?
That
Or is
doesn't
it just like emphasizing it?
that doesn't cover the meaning, right? It should be double negative. It should say that no negative imprints in your soul. If you just say imprints, it doesn't.
Oh.
So you should say no negative imprints. So that is the reason why double negatives. So that's, see, Sanskrit is so deep. So if you remain with Sanskrit, if we at all remain with Sanskrit, and if at all we remain with Sanatana Dharma, world would have been so much better today. Because Sanatana Dharma and Sanskrit, they are designed for people to live a very divine life, a life full of bliss, a life without any sorrows and things like that. They are designed to be like that. But unfortunately, because of our whatever be the reasons, we did not stick with Sanskrit, and we are slowly drifting away from Sanatana Dharma also. More and more people are giving up Sanatana Dharma. It is really unfortunate today. Just for a few simple things, they are just giving up their faith, their most honored possession of life, which is the Sanatana Dharma. They're giving up. It's really unfortunate. So that is avikaraya. Then the next is nityaya. What is the meaning of nityaya? So which of these words in the English language do you think represents nityaya?
Permanent or true?
Yes, permanent. Nitya means something that remains always. Permanent.
Sanatana there, but Sanatana means permanent, doesn't it? Forever.
So,
Yeah, sanata, sanata, nitya, nata, nitya. So it means permanent.
then why is Nitya a popular name?
Because permanent. What is permanent? Can anything bad be permanent?
No, everything
No.
passes.
All the bad things will pass away with time. All bad things. Right? So if you consider body as an impurity, it passes away. Right? The body passes away. It never stays permanently. But the soul remains permanent. It's permanent. Because soul is intended to be good. It is divine. Right? So same thing here. Nityaya means permanent. God is permanent. He is always there. He is the good. The definition of good is God. So he will never fail you. The other way to take it is he will never fail you. He is always there for you. If he is not there for you, it is because of you, not because of him. Why is he not there for you, for somebody?
Because God doesn't come in places that are dirty. So you're not pure.
Exactly. That's right. If the person is not pure, the God cannot come. It is the problem with the person, not with God. So God never fails someone. So any other person or any other mortal being or artifact for that matter can vanish, right? Anything in this world can simply vanish. But when you trust in God, He's always with you. So you should never drift away from God to that extent that God cannot come to your rescue. Right? So that is the meaning of Nityaya. So he's permanent. He's always there for you. Okay, the next word is what? Paramatmani. So what is? Yeah, ultimate. Parama means ultimate. Atma means soul. So ultimate soul or the ultimate truth is Paramatma. So one question, what is the ultimate source of water?
The ocean?
The ocean, right? And where do all the rivers merge?
In the sea, in the ocean.
In the ocean, right? So just like that, all the truths merge into the ultimate truth, right? So just like you take a boat, you want to go to the ocean, you take a boat and put it on the river, you're guaranteed that you'll end up in the ocean, right?
If you follow the right direction.
Yeah. It may take many, many years for that matter, but you are guaranteed that you will reach the ocean
in the end.
In the end. Because every water draw, every river merges with the ocean eventually. Same thing with the truth. Truth is like a boat. You sit in the boat of truth, you are guaranteed to reach the ultimate truth, which is the God. Right? It's like a boat that you can take to reach God. Practicing truthfulness. The moment you tell lie, it becomes, your soul becomes impure. There is a chance that your soul becomes impure. It may not immediately become impure, but if you get into that habit of telling lies, then the soul is likely to become impure.
Like if you're on the boat example, then you're steering the wrong way.
Yeah, you're steering the wrong way. Yes, you're right. You're going backwards. Instead of flowing with the water, you're flowing backwards. That's what it means. So that is the reason why that's another good example, right? So when you tell lies, life becomes difficult for you. Why? Because because the truth, everything is truth, based on truth, and you are telling lies, people don't like you and things happen. Just like boat, if you follow this flow of the river, it is much easier. But if you try to go against the flow of the river, then it is difficult, right? So telling lies is like taking the boat in the reverse direction against the flow of the water, right? So it will make your life difficult. Lies will make your life difficult. So truth is like a boat which will lead you to God. That is the reason why God is the ultimate truth, ultimate soul, right? So truth can be thought of as a path to God, and lies, every lie will take you backwards in that path. Right? You may not feel it immediately. You tell a lie, you get away with something, nobody catches you, nobody says anything. You feel happy, you got what you wanted, but it will have a long-lasting impact. So unconsciously, your mind gets used to the habit of lying, getting away easily. And once that becomes a habit, it sticks to the soul. So small kids, 2-year-old, 1-year-old, sometimes tell lies, right? Whereas some kids, 1-year-old, 2-year-old also, they don't tell lies. Come what may. Yeah, it's because of the previous birth, because of the impressions in the soul. People behave differently. So that is the meaning of Paramatmani, the ultimate truth, ultimate soul. All our souls eventually merge with God, finally. Right? So that is another reason why he is called Paramatma, ultimate soul. So the next quality is Sarvajishnave. So the Vishnave we all know. Vishnu, we are here. Vishnu means it has a meaning, but Vishnave in this sloka simply means God. Sat eka rupaya rupaya. Sat means good. Eka means one. Rupa means form. Rupaya means form. So Sadaika Rupa Rupaya means
one good form and form.
Yeah, of God. The one good form of God is all winning. Sarvajishnave. He is always winning. That's what it means.
Sarva means everything.
Sarva means everything, everyone. Jishna, Jaya, Jishna, victory. Jishnave means one who is victorious over everything in the world. So he wins over everything. See, we mortal beings cannot win over our own small things, right? Like laziness, desires, our own desires. And we cannot win over our own bad qualities, which are inside you. They're not from outside. They're all inside us. Anger, for instance, hatred, love, attachment to food. All these things, they're inside you. And you're not even able to win over them. But God can win over everything, everyone, anything that you can think of, he can win over. So what does that tell you? When you are with God, you can also win over everything and anything in the world. That is what Buddha proved. Gautama Buddha proved that he can win over without a kingdom, without a sword in his hand, without anything. He won the entire universe. That is what he proved, and still being a human being. So when you are with God, you can win over everything in the world. So that is the importance of keeping your mind pure so that God is with you. Never drift away from the state of mind to the extent that you cannot meditate, that you cannot think of God. That is the most important message from this sloka. So human beings are powerful, right, compared to all other living beings, because they demonstrate some of these qualities.
And right? They're in control.
Yeah, they're in a much better control.
They know what's going on.
They know what's going on. Whereas animals are not, they cannot control even as much as human beings can control. Right? They have attachments. If you shout at you throw a stone at a dog, it cannot control its emotion. It simply shouts back, or it might come and bite you, or whatever behavior, or might run away, or whatever it is. Or if so, that is why it's called animal instinct. Whereas we human beings are able to control at least those kind of feelings. Some people may not be able to control. You shout, I shout. I shout, you shout. Some people cannot control that. It is really unfortunate. But with practice, we can do that. We can control. But with practice, animals cannot even do that. So that is the reason why we are much better. Same with computer programs, right? What are some of the powerful computer programs? Machine learning. So machine learning, yeah, self-driving cars and things like that. So they demonstrate some of these qualities. So for instance, artificial neural networks, I think we are almost on time, almost on the hour, but so artificial neural networks, which we were talking about in some of the past classes, they are called universal function approximators. So they can mimic any function. So you're given some inputs and you want to get these outputs. You can build a neural network to do that. Approximately, of course, not 100%, but approximately, you can build any neural network, you can build any box that you can think of. You're given certain inputs, certain outputs. You want to build a machine which can produce those outputs given the inputs, you can do it. That is the power of neural networks, artificial neural networks. So the universality, which is one of the qualities of God. Vishnu is basically being universal, right? Shunya, not everywhere, he is present everywhere, he is universal. Right? That's the meaning of Vishnu. Vishwam. The very first name of the God, the very first quality of God in the Vishnu Sahasranamam is?
Pure.
No, that is introduction, preface. Once the Vishnu Sahasranamam actually starts, what is the first name? How does the Vishnu Sahasranamam start?
Wow.
Does anyone remember? Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. That is how it starts. So the very first quality is Vishwam. Vishwam means universal.
Everything.
Universal, yeah, everything. So the artificial neural networks are called universal function approximators. They're universal. They can approximate any kind of function. You give a few inputs and you give a few outputs that these inputs should produce. You can build a neural network which will take those inputs and produce those outputs. Isn't that cool? That is universal power of neural networks. So that is the reason why all these self-driving cars and all the great applications of machine learning, like face recognition and fingerprint recognition, all those things can happen using, they all use neural networks because you can pretty much approximate any kind of functionality you can think of. So that is the power of neural networks. So the qualities established in the Vishnu Sahasranamam not only apply to human beings, they apply to non-living beings also, like software programs. If your software programs demonstrates these kind of behaviors, they get the power, right? So these qualities are universal. They are not just applicable to human beings, but they are applicable to universally, right? Okay, I think any questions so far?
No.
Okay, then let us conclude the session. It's almost an hour. So let us conclude the session with our prayer. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Sanmangalani Santu. See you next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.